everybody. Today I'm here with a legendary musician from the metal scene, and we are here to talk about some really interesting today. How are you doing today?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you, man. We are so excited about the new album and all the touring coming after that and wonderful opportunities. And I think, yeah, it's pretty amazing still after nearly 30 years of playing, we are still able to do new exciting things and find new audiences and also fantastic times.
Amazing. Yeah, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I remember listening to you when I was a child. Like I think the first time I listened to Apocalyptica, I might have been like 13 or 14 years old. And I was like, oh, this really cool because at the time I was already like listening to rock and roll and metal music. And
Yeah.
there or at least at the time there was nothing I knew that was like you, like with the cellos and everything like this, and then making Metallica covers with the cellos, that was like mind blowing to me as a child. So yeah, that was really cool. So
So,
I know you've been here in Mexico this year. As a matter of fact, it almost seems
yes.
like yesterday. And my first question, or official question, would be like, how did Mexico treat you guys this time?
I loved this tour. It's absolutely one of the favorite tours ever because this time we played like 15 shows all over your country. And that's the first time we got to go to so many new places, to new cities. And most of the travels we even did with the bus. So we were able to see the erupting Popocatépetl and all of, cool things that normally when you just fly in somewhere, you often don't see so much about the nature or local habits, but getting to eat everywhere. And it was like having a really coolest road trip all over Mexico. And I I loved it, and I can't wait when we can make something similar again.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, Mexico, it's like a really magical place in that aspect when you're traveling, um, like in an automobile, right? Like in a car or in a
Mm.
bus or something like this. It's very like the scenery, it's really cool. Like
Yes.
every country has its thing, right? But yeah, Mexico and the volcanoes and all the history, it's really cool.
Absolutely. And for us, since the very start of our career, Mexico has been one of the first places we ever got like a bigger shows and got invited. And since the start, you guys have shown so much love towards our music. So there must be something similar and like-minded in our ways of listening to music or whatever. But I think that is the beautiful thing when you travel in the world coming from totally different sides of it, but seeing how similar the passion of people, how similar the passion all over the world is when it comes to, for example, sharing the love for similar music. And that is so beautiful. And I always felt like home with the Mexican crowd. And yeah, it's absolutely the favorite, one of the favorite places ever for us always to come.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's beautiful, man. Because here in Mexico, like metalheads are super crazy. Like I've been talking about this in every interview I've done for the bands, and the Mexican fans specifically, they got this energy, right? Because all of the metal fans around the world are amazing, I think, but Mexicans have this little like crazy thing about them.
Absolutely, yes. And there is this one extra gear maybe that doesn't exist anywhere else,
Yeah.
and that truly is. And the power, the energy, what you feel on a stage in Mexico, it's uh, it's really a spiritual experience. It's wonderful. It boosts you up and it brings you to the totally different level. So that's one of the coolest parts in this profession. I think that you get to do amazing studio work, but funnily, still, the moment when the musician finally finds that the thing is complete is when you get to play those new songs to actually really share them live. with the audience and seeing their faces, the smiles or tears and everything, and the fury and all of that. So
Yeah, of
therefore,
course.
that's why I could never stop performing live. It is just so strong, emotional.
Music is like that. It's almost like a spiritual experience almost. And when you live for the music like you do because you're a musician, it's almost like magical or something like that. It feels really like it's one of those things you cannot see with the bare eye, but you can really feel.
Yes, that is absolutely true. And for me, I also think that the somehow performing live, it brings me to this totally different mindset. To even like I like to describe it as almost like a different dimension. So earthly trouble, they don't exist. If you just go there, you dive into the music, you feel and interact with the audience, and for that moment there is nothing else existing. And it's often I might be even in really so deep in my whatever fantasy worlds inside head that I don't even know how the show is going. So there have been so many times that I had to ask from the guys that how was it, because I can't remember anything. Like, whoa, was it a good one? But usually if yeah, I think that that is the perfect show when you actually really you were so deep into the performing that you are not anymore controlling yourself, but just letting go, and it is really amazing feeling.
Yeah, yeah, you get in this like automatic process when you're executing music. That's
Yes.
a crazy thing. So changing topics to music actually. Like I know in your career you have done a lot of collaborations with a lot of actually singers from other bands, and that's amazing. Actually, one of my favorite albums is the Seventh Symphony, with which it's full of amazing voices from other bands.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about this topic of One and James Hetfield, and anything you want to share with the audience here.
Yeah. Of course, it wouldn't be surprising that for us, James Hetfield has always been in a way that number one guy with whom we would love to work, because our band started from the pure admiring, loving their music, and therefore it feels like this, in a way, where we started, we once again went back to performing Metallica tracks. So we closed the circle in a way. We finally got again back to the start, but now just with the Apocalyptica that is much more mature and experienced, and we learned so much throughout all these years and all the albums. And naturally having like Metallica members participating in it, it's an amazing honor for us and a wonderful thing, because, or more than a wonderful thing, naturally. And they always were really supportive, encouraging us to do what we do, and they have even liked a lot of it. And I remember when I was a really young boy, for example, I'm playing in first times in big festival something, and then all of a sudden you play Five Fire with Fire, and looking to the side of the stage and seeing the whole Metallica standing there, like James digging it with the with that kind of facial brutal expression. And so it was already then amazing to see that, okay, we love their music, but they somehow appreciate the way how we feel it. And for this album, we also wanted to make sure that our big brothers, how we often like to maybe call them, they would approve or kind of agree that it's fine for them that Apocalyptica makes a new album like this. And Lars was very beautiful with all his work, that yeah, we were always so proud of everything that you have done, and go for it, and can't wait to hear what comes up this time. So very encouraging. And that's why Rob then eventually even let us know that he is available to use if we want to have bass somewhere, he could join. And already that was incredible. And then we can go a bit further when our arrangement and arranging process and everything was evolving, and Eikka actually got this really cool idea that Call of Tulu is one of the coolest bass tracks probably ever recorded. And so we got the permission for the original Cliff Burton performance, which is recorded by Flemming Rasmussen. And we were able to do our own arrangement on top of Cliff Burton. And I need to show you, Still
Oh,
Strong, always there. He's one of the most amazing performers and innovator of his own instrument, and such exciting thing. We were in our tears because we could isolate, have only that track and start to listen how Burton actually back in the day played. And then you start to play on top of that, and it feels like this is something unbelievable. So really, really having his spirit in the studio in an album for that track, and it's such an honor, an amazing thing. And I'm sure that it's going to be it's going to make quite a few Metallica fans even cry, and I hope to cry from a joy, because it's amazing, truly amazing. And then for one, it's one of the absolute my favorite songs through whole music history, and I always felt it is a really like even a cinematic story, and the progress of that song already from Metallica performance is it's very it gives you a lot of scenery in your mind when you listen to that one. It's obvious. So I had kind of this dream at one day to do own new version for one where actually could use all those elements people are doing on a great epic cinematic scores. And that's why this track became more and more bombastic all the time, and I was able to work with the wonderful dude from LA studios, like a guy who has made sound design for Marvel, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, these kind of movies. Also worked with the Skywalker sound back in the day. So we had the world top-notch amazing sound effects already going on there, beautiful orchestral performance in Budapest. And because of this cinematic approach, since the start of the arrangement, I had the feeling that it would be really cool to have actually like a narrator, something like Liam Neeson.
I will find you, and I will kill you.
Talking the story of this soldier. And it was natural that when I represented and played the song to the guys and we were talking about this version, we all said that, yeah, it would be the most amazing thing ever if James himself would do the lyrics. But, you know, it felt a little bit like utopistic and uncertain, or we couldn't even consider that that could be an option because, well, he is who he is and basically never did anything else nearly besides Metallica, and they must be very protective also for what they do. But of course, the guys, they were excited to hear what we have done. And Rob was in a studio recording for Horsemen already, and he wanted to hear the rest of the music as well. And like to see his reaction, the very spontaneous and loving and caring and excited reactions to all these songs. I don't know if he went to say to James or something like that, dude, these guys are doing great job or whatever, because after this, James told us himself that why don't we ask him? Why can't it be him who does the narrating part? And eventually, when everything started to realize and it became true, they were very busy also with their own touring, all the schedules. But finally, receiving the information that James is now in the studio and sending him, you know, this version, he recorded it, and I got actually the honor to edit his voice myself, which was also funny because I had to do my own. I all the time had my own. I spoke the original demo lyrics, And I had to send my own voice to James, like, okay, this would be the way how I have felt like this, you know, guy from Finland, very far away. I'm dreaming these big things, and this would be the way how I would like that you actually do it, but do it however you feel. Very, very surreal in a way. But when finally those James tracks came and I was in my home studio listening to that incredible authority and the charisma experience that he has already in his speaking voice, I was just nearly fainting and in tears and all. I can't explain how emotional it was to start to actually put his voice into the track, and kind of feeling that there must be, this is obviously something that we have done something right in our career, that these people, they actually want to do things with us. And one got even after James recorded, then Trujillo wanted to participate to that track as well, because I would guess that he kind of felt that I need to be part of this. And yeah, it became by far the biggest and most bombastic things Apocalyptica has ever done. Long song with a cool intro. Even I made that intro originally to open the show. I was thinking that it would be cool to have like an intro tape and then we play the song. But the guys, they actually also loved that intro, which is really cool, filled with whispers and this haunting theme. So we actually wanted to include that also into the album, and that's why one became how it is now.
Oh man, that's well, first of all, that's an amazing shirt. That one from Cliff. Because Cliff, it's such a legendary character on the history of Metallica. And well, it's amazing that a band that you're very inspired on gives you their props, right? Like they pay their respect because you're, as you were saying, you're doing something absolutely right. And actually, I was thinking on this last part that I've seen people like making collaborations with Metallica, but maybe I'm absolutely wrong on this, but I've never seen Metallica doing a collaboration with someone else like it's happening here. So that's also such a, I would call it like a historic moment on the metal scene, and that's amazing. And that absolutely represents the respect they have for you, and that's an amazing thing.
Yes, it truly is. But they have, throughout the whole career, they have been really beautifully encouraging us always, whenever we played with them or met anywhere, supported them or stuff. So it has been a very, very important and driving, very emotionally pushing and driving, feedback to those people whose music is the reason also for our existence, because we started our group just because we wanted to have fun with the music that we loved. And when we were teenagers, Metallica absolutely was the #1 band. And from that same love, I think it's amazing that after everything we have done, so many different albums, different types of approaches from Apocalyptica, we always had this feeling that we can do almost anything, because cello as an instrument is giving you opportunities for playing anything from classical ambient music to brutal thrash and in between those. So this feels truly like going back to the roots. But what I really loved it in during this process is that we were able to reach the same excitement as when we were young. But this time we naturally also ourselves, we carry much more experience and knowledge about everything. So that's how I think that this became, in a way, like really the ultimate Apocalyptica experience, to capture those two elements of how we are these days, but also where we became, where we started. And for us, throughout all these years, throughout our career, we have had in our mind that there are so many great Metallica songs still that we would love to play those remaining ones yet. And there still were amazingly lots of songs that I, for example, I made I think 15 to 20 arrangements alone me for this album to try, you know, so many different types of eras of Metallica's back catalog. And some of these tracks, I feel like we could not find a very cool approach yet, but who knows, maybe in the future there's still like so many cool songs that Apocalyptica has not done, or maybe we should, or we could do new versions out of some songs that we recorded in the start. And that's like never ending thing, but I love the fact that the passion for Metallica's music, it came back the same way than what it was in 90s when we started to play those songs the first time.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, music, it's as you said, a never-ending thing. Like it's an infinite loop of options always. Like in cello, of course, but I think in every instrument or every kind of music, every genre. And yeah, that's super cool. And the Metallica songs, yeah, man, you have a huge repertoire to choose from, and that's amazing. Of course, if you do them all, well, they are gonna. It's like just a certain number of songs, but yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, you have a lot of options there.
Yeah, we do. And I
So
always love to play Metallica songs in live shows, because you could also, of course, people know those tracks so particularly well. Our audience always love to sing along with it, and I started to laugh already in the start of our career, that it felt at times like that we are a karaoke band, that people come to sing their lungs out in the shows. And yeah, not having a permanent own singer gives you all these opportunities also to work with various amazing artists, and really wide spectrum in a musical territory. So I think that now with this album we got so excited in creating music again and all of that, that it's only interesting to see what we will find the next. But first, of course, let's concentrate on the release of this, and I think approximately probably 200 concerts that is going to follow the next 2 years probably, because yeah, we are going to tour with this very big time all over the world, and that is also something that I'm so excited about, to get to play these new songs live.
yeah, of course, touring, it's a crazy thing, and of course, people are always going to sing the Metallica songs. That's such a cool thing because they are gonna like who doesn't know Metallica? You know, there's lovers and haters, but they all know them. And they all know the lyrics as well, even the haters. So yeah, that's super cool. So, well, I have one last question. I always ask, I always ask like, what's the craziest thing that has happened to you in the metal road? But I wanted to change it a little bit on this one. And I wanted to ask you, what is the craziest thing that has happened to you in Mexico?
Well, recently, at least, it's not a crazy, but one of the most impressive things was actually to follow, and the Popocatépetl erupting was the
Oh,
first time ever I was seeing a volcano. So these kind of things, they really like, wow, make a impression on you. But the craziest thing, uh, even maybe could go not to the naughty stories, but rather rather to the feeling of like the energy level of your audience. And the very first time going in front of a Mexican audience, I just remember it so well that I could not believe that is that possible, you know, because we come from a classical world. We started the career, naturally, we played in Finland and in Germany already in early years. But in a way, the Mexican approach was really something mind-blowing. And of course, there have been several stomach flus and whatever, food poisoning, those kind of things. And still you need to go in front of the audience, having shits in your pants and whatever. But the beautiful energy of your people and how they always gave it to us, and that love that we share for music, I would say that now is the coolest and craziest thing.
Yeah, of
At,
course, of course.
at least the thing that I can tell publicly.
Yeah. Actually, the stomach thing, they call it the revenge of Moctezuma. I don't know why they call it that, but yeah, they call it that for some reason.
There was some kind of a story that they made the conquerors somehow poisoned or something, so they were not able to attack because of everybody was shitting.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
that's actually
something like that.
makes sense. Yeah. Well, thank you so very much for your time, and I'm glad you had a good time here in Mexico this last time you came. Anything else you want to add to this Mexican audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait. The next opportunity, the next possibility to come to your country to play this. We are so proud of this album, so happy about where we stand right now. And like mentioned, that the really true feeling of what you've done, you reach the best when you are in front of a live audience, and the Mexico being the greatest place on earth to play for us. So I really, really hope that for next spring, we would be able to once again come back and really then share our common passion for the music, for Metallica, for Apocalyptica, for Mexican food and everything. So see you
Amazing.
soon.
Thank you so much.